friends, this is Olga, a mature medical student from Ukraine. Currently I have summer holidays and now I'm walking here around. I just want to show you very beautiful mountains behind my back and then talk to you about the topic I choose for today. But for that I have to go somewhere in the shadow, closer to bigger trees. Okay, now I found some more shadowed, better place to talk to you longer. And the topic of my video is how to prepare for step 1 for Krok1. Now I have this experience and it is a positive experience. After I watched the results of all my group mates and all actually group, my results were second. Only one girl, she became first with 90% of correct answers, and I was the second. I shared this position with another boy. But anyway, it's very good results, and now I just want to talk to you how I reached that and give you some tips, give you some advices useful if you going to study in Ukraine in any medical university. How to prepare to Krok1. I think not only how here is important, but also when. And I would like to start with the second. So when to start to prepare to Krok1? In this question, the most important, do not lose time and do not listen people or even teachers. Some of the teachers, they actually didn't graduate from medical university, but for example from biological some faculty of other university, so they do not have an experience. So better do not listen people, any people, even teachers, who said that you don't have to prepare to Krok1 for a half of the year, you will forget everything. It's better to do that 1 month before Krok. And it's the really very rude mistake, very bad mistake. It's important, do not lose time. And really half of the year before Krok1, it's a very good and proper time to start to prepare. Some people who really afraid to fail this test, they may even start to prepare 1 year before Krok1. It is better earlier than later in this case, but I think half of the year is quite enough. It is the winter holidays. When you finished, for example, your first semester, you passed an exam, you have um, the January months of holidays. You also, for example, in our university, we usually have the first months of study, the February, just the lectures. So we do not study anything. We just have to attend lectures. We make some notes there if we want. And it's also quite interesting question if it's necessary to do that notes. But anyway, the February, also January and February, you have basically 2 free months. So you have enough of time to start to prepare to Krok1. So it's the best decision to do that. And now I want to tell you about how to do that, how to prepare to Krok1, because in this question also some people, they doing mistakes, and these mistakes also were made by people who receiving only A and rarely B scores, and these mistakes cost them the bad results on Krok1. So what are I think it's one mistake. The one mistake that these people, they thought that they're quite smart, and these people, they didn't pass any test. Their opinion was, if we just refresh in the memory all 9 subjects that contains Krok1 for the 3 years, then we will be prepared to any tests. So they didn't pass any tests, they didn't train it for exactly test questions. They just studying and learned the material. Another thing that people may do is the opposite thing, when they just passing tests and they do not refresh in their memory any topics from the previous subjects, previous years, and it's also a mistake. I think it's a mistake that most of students do, because most of students, they just try to pass tests. They do not repeat subjects. And the most important here to keep the balance, actually, for successful passing Krok1, it's to do both. It's to repeat the subjects, uh, 9 of them, of these subjects, and in the same time try to pass tests. And why it is necessary to do both things? Because if you training, if you passing just tests, you just like there is popping out some questions in different subjects, and you may even learn them. You may even open the book and read this topic, but you will not have the complete picture of the subject. The repetition of all topic will refresh your memory and will make your vision of the subjects is more like confident and wide, and then you learn some some narrow topics, for example, based on some questions in the test. How to combine these two things, to read and learn subjects and to pass tests. For a lot of people, it's individual, so I may tell you how I did, how it was convenient for me, and of course you can do as the best for you, as the more convenient for you. So anyway, what I did, first of all, I decided to refresh the first year subjects in the memory, and then second year subjects in the memory, and third year I didn't finish yet because it was a few still months of learning these subjects. Don't need to learn them because I'm already learning it on the third year. I took, for example, medical biology. Medical biology is the first subject of the first year that included in Krok1. I thought what I can find, what materials I can find that will contain briefly all topics, because I will not study big books on medical biology. I do not have time. I have to briefly refresh all important key things on medical biology right now. And was useful for me to open the tests, for example, that we passed. For example, we had the online study and we have saved tests. It was topic 1, topic 2, topic 3. I'm just opening this test and I'm just learning the answer. And usually these tests, they were concentrated on something, the most important things. So it was useful for me to get into this topic, at least, a surface of this topic. And also I used the protocols. We had such a, I think, of most of subjects, Krok included subjects, they have protocols or home task you have to fill. It took to refresh in memory one subject. For me, it was 1 week. So 1 week, all free time, I just learned all topic one by one, using tests I passed and using the protocols and home tasks, only medical biology. I had the second week of studying, only try to pass 1 year, one test, and the following all 6 days I try to learn deeply each question I do not know or I curious to know better based on this test, from this test. The third week I also start to learn some other subjects, not medical biology, but for example, histology. Um, Honestly, I didn't study histology like all topics, and I want to explain you why. These 9 subjects, they not have equal value in the Krok. So, for example, histology only from the 4 to 6% of questions based on these subjects on histology. So histology for me it was not that important. I didn't want to lose much time for that subject, and also I was quite confident in histology, and for me was the most important to refresh some things that I saw, for example, some questions in Krok1 that were complicated for me, but they were from histology, and I just opened that exactly that topics exactly that I want to study, and I studied them. I think you catched my idea, my way to train to prepare to Krok1. It was 1 week of sub-subject, 1 week of passing some year Krok1, one sub-subject and one another some year of Krok1. And when I passed all subjects, I just concentrated of constantly passing tests. The last 3 or 4 weeks, I just passed tests all my free time. I just didn't do anything. I passed tests, I ate and I slept. I passed tests, and it was only like this. So non-stop learning, non-stop passing tests, just because you're on the finish line. When you still, for example, found some questions that you made a mistake, for example, you open this topic, you fix this question, you open this topic, you learn why the answer was like that. Frankly speaking, some of these tests I didn't search, for example, the answers, and I didn't searched why exactly this mechanism and what kind of mechanism, why exactly it's like that. I just learned the question and the answer. It was on biochemistry sometimes because they're quite direct, some of these questions, and no need to, you just have to remember that thing and this question and that answer. I passed the tests. There was such a thing when, for example, you learn it, you remember that you repeated that thing, but you forgot it. And in this case, it's the better thing just to repeat. And when you repeat it, for example, 2 or 3 times, then you will be just like a, like an arrow passing these questions and tests. Also very good if you will find some illustrative materials, some scams, some just drawings of the process, and it's really very helps of most of the subjects. For example, to study anatomy, just to remember the shape of the organ, the borders, the corners, the holes, it's insane. For you it's better to find good picture of this organ on anatomy in just watch and understand why is that, why the answer was like that. The same on biochemistry. It's much more better when you find colorful good scans of the reactions. In biochemistry we learn a lot of cycled reactions, and actually they build on some not much substances, so it's better to to use in any of these subjects, just use the materials you can remember by your visual memory. Also, I wanted to give you some advice how to learn pathological anatomy, or it's the old name of pathological morphology, or pathomorphology. This subject it's quite difficult, and the questions in Krok1 it's a lot of them based on that subject, and they could be very long. When you see a description of 5 or 6 sentences and you don't understand there's some types of cells, you cannot understand what kind of disease it is. It's quite complicated sometimes. And the key point, how to crush fastly these questions, for example, to find and to take some 3 or 4 days to learn the key words. When you know the key words, you already know the answer. And I have such an idea to make another video especially for you, while I remember these keywords, while I just pass Krok1, I can share these keywords with you. And I think that for those people who want to be medical students in Ukraine, or they already medical students of the first year of Ukraine, this video would be also useful. And also I want to add here that to pass Krok1 year by year, for example, questions of the 2010, 2011 up to 2023, it's very, very important. And it's good when you will pass all years since the starting of Krok1. The first test in Ukraine, Krok1, was in 2001, so we have already 22 years of existing of Krok1. And my recommendations for you to pass each year at least 2 or better 3 times. Why is that very important, and why is that will help you? Just because these questions, they repeating from year to year. And it will be definitely 100% that when you will pass your Krok1, 40% or 50% of the questions that were from the previous years. Sometimes these people in the testing center of Ukraine, they taking some old, very old questions from the, for example, 2001, 2002, 2003 year. They were from the beginning of Krok1, and not much students they passing them. And these students, they consider them as very complicated new questions, and they writing then in chats that it was terrible new questions, but it was not new questions. It was questions from the very beginning of that first years of Krok1. So for you, it's better to pass them also. And also sometimes our testing center, they doing like they a little bit change the question, they a little bit change the answer, but actually you may guess these questions you already saw. For example, they may a little bit change the words in the question. Sometimes they may change the answers. For example, they may change them into Latin language, or opposite in the, for example, Ukrainian or English language. So it will be change, but it will be not essential change. So thank you for watching. I hope this video would be useful for you, and see you in the next time. Bye.